Hello, and welcome to another edition of Good Notes, where we invite touring and local musicians to come into the studio here in Campbell River and share their stories and play a little music for us. Today's guest is Mr. Eugene Smith. Hello, Eugene.
Hello, hello, hello. Here I am.
Here you are.
What time is it right now?
It's daytime. So
I'm awake.
there we go. So why don't you play a song with us, and then we'll do some storytelling.
Okay, I can do that. That's why they pay me the big bucks around here. I brought my kalimba today that usually I play my guitar, but I decided I've been writing songs with the kalimba, so let's go. Well, I've been sitting here pining, girl, day and night since you've been gone. Wondering what happened in the mix, so where did we go wrong? We had the world by the shirt tail with another kick at the can. Oh, come back, baby. Help me understand. And then there's a knock at the door, and I'm hoping it's you. I open it up, and there you're standing, looking mighty, mighty, mighty good. Mighty good. Yeah. I say, come on in. You walk on by, you give me a smile with a twinkle in your eyes. In your eyes. Oh, yeah. Ha. Well, you sat there and told me that it wasn't my fault that you left the way you did. You said the walls were closing in on you and you just had to get away. You went here and there and everywhere, oh, to soothe your soul. But nothing worked, and now you're back to let me know. That's when I heard a knock at the door. I was hoping it was you. I opened it up, and there you're standing, looking mighty, mighty, mighty good. Mighty good. Oh, yeah. I say, come on in. You walk on by, you give me a smile with a twinkle in your eyes. In your eyes. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, no, papa, well, now you're back and now you're here, oh, baby, you're in my arms. Well, don't get worried, Will, don't you get alarmed. We're gonna have a good time, we'll put it back, you see. Well, I know that you'll agree. That's when I heard a knock at the door. I was hoping it was you. I opened it up and you were standing there looking mighty, mighty good. Mighty good. I say, come on in. You walk on by, you give me a smile with a twinkle in your eyes. In your eyes. Hey, ho, Yeah. Hey. You're welcome. There we go.
So, you're originally from Ontario?
Yes, that's Toronto.
Toronto?
Grew up in Toronto. T.O.
Yeah, and your childhood was?
Mimic old New Toronto, Long Branch, the west end of the city. Mm-hmm. I remember when it was like, I remember when Toronto went from 800,000 to 1 million. And Toronto was called Toronto the Good back then. It's not called that anymore.
It still was the center of the universe.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah. Everything happened in Toronto. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, it was pretty lively then with the music scene.
Oh,
obviously.
It was wonderful. It was wonderful back then. Both sides of Yonge Street were just club after club of the best music. Well, it was all being created back then too. The jazz, the funk, the Motown, and all. Like the music we listen to today is the music that was being created back then.
Yeah.
And it still stands up today when you listen to it. Still sounds good.
Takes a test of time.
Yeah.
So music in your life, when did you become interested, or how was was your family musical? My biological parents were both musicians. My biological father, he played the bass, upright bass and tuba, and my biological mother was a keyboard player, jazz, they're both in jazz, and singer. And but I didn't really get interested in music, I guess when I was 14. That's when I got really interested in music. I used to, at the Y dances, I used to get up and sing the songs while I was dancing to them, like at the Y dances. Mm-hmm. And so this one Saturday night at the Y dance, these two guys came up to me and asked me would I be interested in singing and be the singer in their band, the lead singer in their band. And it was the furthest thing from my mind. I wasn't even thinking that. And I said, why are you asking me? And they said, well, we come to the Y dances on Saturday and you're always up dancing, but when you're dancing to the music, they said, you're singing the songs and you're the only person we know that knows the lyrics to all the songs we want to do. So I went home and asked my dad if I could join the band, and there was this band. I mean, it was only 3 guitars, no bass, and just 3 guitars and drums, that was it. But no bass guitar. Yeah.
No, 2 guitars and drums. Anyways, he said yes, and that's how I got interested. But and I just went from there to getting into my very serious teenage band at the age of 16. And then after that...
that was with Sam Hurry?
That was it was called J. Smith and the Majestics. Mm-hmm. And I was still going to high school at the time. And I had this band, and we opened up for the Dave Clark 5, actually. There were 5 bands in Toronto at Maple Leaf Gardens, and we opened up for the Dave Clark 5. There was 26,000 screaming kids. And it was the scariest thing I'd ever experienced in my life. And I wasn't even in that band, but they weren't screaming for us or anything. And when the Dave Clark 5 came on, and then all those kids screaming at the same time, a chill went through my body like I'd never experienced. It was pretty scary to experience that.
How old were you then?
I was 19 then.
Okay.
Yeah. I was 19. And it was pretty scary. And then after that, I got a call from Ronnie Hawkins, and so I ended up becoming one of the Hawks. So After the Hawks.
After the band.
Yeah, after the band, yeah.
And you were with him for
5 years. I was
years.
with Ronnie for 5 years. Traveled down south and traveled all over Ontario, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But it was exciting.
Into the south, and you hadn't been to the south, so that was quite an experience for you.
Yeah, that was an experience going down south in the 60s. It was an eye opener, that's for sure.
You weren't in Kansas anymore.
No. No, definitely wasn't in Kansas.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it was different, you know. I expected it to be different, you know, and I didn't look like I do now. I didn't look like this then. My hair was dark and it was short, and I was driving the Rolls Royce, and I had a cap on and everything, and they would get me up to sing with the band and stuff like that. And but the America, I don't know. I found the United States. I met a lot of really great people down there, and you know, in the States. But it was fun. It was an experience. And then I went from Ronnie to my own band, the warm-up band, and I called it the warm-up band because usually big acts would have a warm-up band opening up for them, and so the name, Eugene Smith and the warm-up band, it caught on, and we got asked to do a lot of warming up for different, like the Beach Boys, Peter Tosh, you know. We backed up, we were the band for as my mind goes reeling around, Sam and Dave.
Oh, yeah.
We backed, Sam and Dave, their voices together, well, you know what their voices sound like. Well, they hated each other. They didn't like each other but we had to back them up. We were backing them up. And they came in different airplanes, they came in different cars. They stayed at different hotels. One would sit at the other one end of the dressing room, one would sit at the other end. They never talked. They just didn't like they didn't like being around each other. I guess in their contracts, the contracts said that they couldn't associate with each other. Who knows? But when they got on stage and started singing, you would never in a million years know that these two guys didn't like each other. They were wonderful, just wonderful, you know.
Like Sonny Terry and Brownie McGee had kind of the same.
That's the kind of scenario,
relationship.
Yeah, that kind of, yeah. But they were just, yeah, so we opened up for them. I don't know if you, Tuck and Patty was another act. They were from the States. Yeah, so it was Long John Baldry. We opened up for Long John, and we opened up for, at the, Kool and the Gang.
Oh, yeah.
They were funny.
So that's in the 70s?
This was in the...
Early 70s?
It was in the early 80s.
Okay.
Late 70s, early 80s, yeah.
Okay, I'm just thinking disco.
Oh, disco.
Kool and the Gang were in the disco
yeah,
area, but they were also funky and soulful.
Yeah, yeah.
Total.
The whole place was totally dark, and they come running out, and they had jumpsuits on with lights blinking. And they come out with these lights on their jumpsuits, yellow jumpsuits, you know. But when they first come out, you just see the lights. That's all you see. And they're all getting ready to do their dance steps and things, you know. It was in Kool and the Gang.
Kool and the Gang.
Yeah.
About the show. Good funk and about the show. And dressing fine.
Yeah, they were a fun act. I saw Ray Charles there. Oh, I was sad. It was a sad day when they tore that place down, the Forum in Toronto. Mm-hmm. They tore it down. It was a stage that went around and around. So it would start here and it'd just move around really, really slowly. So you could be looking at somebody here, you close your eyes, you open them up, there's somebody else new there. You know, so it would go around at such a speed that by the time it came back to this point, you knew your set was over. That's how you could time your set, yeah.
And everybody in the audience
Yeah.
got a good shot of you.
Oh, yes, everybody got to see the band, whatever act was going around, yeah. It was a wonderful, and the sound was great in there. It was just excellent. But they tore it down, like they did in a lot of places in Toronto. Disappeared. I was pleased when they saved Massey Hall. You know, saving Massey Hall was, you know, excellent. They were getting ready to tear that down too.
Yeah, Gordon Lightfoot.
Oh, he played there every year.
Yeah, but he had a lot to do with saving that as well.
Yeah. Yeah, he played there every year at a certain time. Every year he played there, certain months.
Yeah, I just finished reading this book. It's a good read. Yeah. So for record, did the warm up band? Is that where you recorded more with them?
Well, we did one album actually. I recorded with them in Toronto, and it was called Warmin' Up. And we went from being, we were a co-op band. And what we did was, we took a salary, and then we had a bank account where there were 5 of us in the band, but we made an imaginary 6th person. And every time we'd split the money 5 ways, or we'd do it 6 ways, and put money in the bank. So we went from we went from making $75 each on a gig, and within a year we were making grossing $100,000 as a year as a band, and we did it all ourselves. Other bands were going, "How do you guys do that?" Because they owed hundreds and thousands of dollars for equipment. Managements were taken, you know, the agents are taken.
Everybody wants a piece of your meat.
You know, and we did it. We did our own promotion. When it came time to mail out the 45s to sell the album, each guy in the band had provinces that they had to mail to radio stations. You know, Ontario had the most radio stations that we had to mail to. We did our own bookings and everything. We owned our own PA system and everything. It was a pretty neat operation, actually.
Well, it's a lot of money that you pay for promotion and stuff. This day is, I know a friend of mine, it's 30% that they're paying. By the time everybody gets that, and then they want a piece of your CD and everything else.
I know.
So it's huge money, and you're getting paid less.
Yeah, that's right. I know. Well, we had. Back then, they had at the bank. We went to the bank, and they gave us $15,000. They loaned us $15,000 to do our album, and they would own the master tape until we paid it off. It would belong to the bank, but we used it to make our more albums and everything, which was good. So, and back then they called it creative banking. That's what they called it.
Yeah.
It was under this synopsis called creative banking. Try and do that nowadays.
Yeah.
Creative banking.
Loan sharking.
Yeah,
Well, how about you got another song for us?
Yeah, sure, I can. Now, because I take the train a lot, I decided to write this song, which I'm not going to do because I'm going to.
Thank you. That was good.
Did you like that one?
Yeah.
Thought I'd do this one for everybody. Sure feels good to see you all again. I know it's been a while, I dare not say how long it's been. Whoa, you're looking good from what I see. I hope you're thinking the same about me, 'cause we're gonna have some fun tonight. Oh Lord, it's guaranteed. We're gonna fill the room with joy. People like you and me. Many traveled sunsets, many traveled moons. We all got here now the best way we could. Whoa, I love it when you smile. Take a moment, oh now, stay with me a while, 'cause we're gonna have some fun tonight. Yeah. Oh Lord, it's guaranteed. We're gonna fill the room with joy. People like you and me. Oh. Yeah, now. Time goes by quickly, and before you know, I'll be saying goodnight, and then we'll all have to go. Safe journey home, if you please. Wake up in the morning with the fond memory that you had yourself some fun last night, and it was guaranteed. You helped to fill the room with joy, with people like you and me. Oh. Having fun. Well, fill the room with joy. All right. Having fun. Yeah. Fill the room with joy. All right. Hey. Pop. Pop.
Thank you.
Yes, there we go.
So you're now a permanent island resident.
I've been here going on 28 years.
So your journey, how did you make it to the island?
By ferry.
Okay.
No,
Did you come out here once and then just didn't go home, or?
Well, Longevity John, I had met Longevity John in Ontario 28 years ago, and I gave him one of my 45 albums, and he gave me his card because I had told him I was coming out to BC to live here again. And so he said, well, if you're ever on the island, he says, come over and look me up, blah, blah, blah. So I came out here. I didn't want to live in Vancouver. I didn't want to go from Toronto to Vancouver to live, one city to another. And so anyways, I phoned him up, and he picked me up on the other side in Nanaimo and brought me to Duncan, and I've been there 28 years.
Okay.
So that's how I got over here, yeah.
So your first because you lived in Port Moody, but that
that was in the 70s. That was back in the 70s. For 5 years, I lived in Port Moody in New West.
when Vancouver was music scene.
And,
was at
and the
its-
Vancouver music scene was happening then. Yeah. There was lots of different places to play. The Cellar. It was the hippie era was still alive and well back then.
Gastown was insane.
Gastown was happening like crazy, like
Yeah.
musically, and the Classical Joint was one of the places that we played. I never played at the Yale. No, that was one of the places that was around then, but I never played there.
More into the 80s, the Yale.
Was the
Yeah,
80s?
it was
Okay.
still pretty rough and
Rough,
tumble, and
probably, yeah.
you know, people sticking things into their arms and stuff in the Yale. And then in the early 80s, because when I first started going to the Yale, it had turned into a blues bar, but
Mm-hmm.
many people I knew said, "You're going
You're
where?"
going where? Yeah.
But I mean, it became famous. You know, as one of the most famous. The Commodore and the Town Pump.
Yeah,
But the
yeah.
Yale was one of them. And the Commodore at that time.
Yeah, the Commodore, I had a band, and we opened up for Bobby Bland there. Yeah, at the Commodore. That was interesting. He was one of my favorites, Bobby Bland.
Yeah,
Oh.
quite a singer. The gig at the Queen's, even though it's
perfect.
a bar, is good because everybody's coming there to dance. There again, first note that happens at the Queen's, that dance floor.
Oh,
is full.
no, I know.
They're there to dance.
Oh no, I know all the old hippies.
So they're not all drunk and fighting and
No.
doing there. They're there for the music. So
No.
that makes it a joy to play for.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You go there to they go. We love you, Eugene. Yeah. Boom, 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 boom. And away they go. And they like to join in with the singing. If you can get them, they'll join in, right?
Yeah, it's a great audience.
Yeah, they're excellent. And they're the same people that support the Blues Festival. You know, they're themselves and their friends, families. Well, at the Blues Festival, they can bring a lot of their kids. There's a few ladies I've seen in there with children. You know that.
It's
They have
family-friendly.
earplugs for them and
it's
everything
a cool
else.
festival.
Yeah. So,
And it's not too big. It's a nice thing about it. And they can all dance there too.
Yeah. So it's been Jackie's been doing an excellent job there. Mostly all the people the musicians that go in there, they just love it.
Yeah.
Especially it's bringing more and more younger musicians to the stage, which is good.
At the Queen's.
Yeah, at the
especially.
Queen's, yeah.
Well, Eugene, thank you so much for coming in and playing us some songs. We're out of time. We were going to do a song at the end, but we've run out of time.
Well,
Us talking. Can you believe that? Maybe you could play the harmonica just a touch.
that's as you
Sure.
sign off.
So thank you once again for tuning in to Good Notes, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, Eugene. Bye now.
Yeah.